Hello guys, Gene here with G Squared Tactical out at the range today with the CZ P09 C Nocturne. I have all MagTech ammunition and I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 6 magazines all the way from my original 75 SP01, P10C, P10F, Shadow 2. I have my DWX, Dan Wesson magazine. I have a plethora of magazines, and I want to explain why it is that I'm doing this video is because I watched the Honest Outlaws video last night where he was having ejection problems with this gun, and it was very reminiscent of a problem I've had in the past with a different gun. And so, I mean, almost to a T. It's almost like I was replaying it through him, and I've watched him for years. And when I originally purchased this firearm here, as you know, if you watched the review, I put the Hollison 407K on there, and I was having some issues with, I'm sorry, I had no issues. My issue was that I did not like how that it left a gap on each side of the optic, and how that it just kind of looked gawky, and I wish they had cut it for a full-size gun. Either way, I found out that the Vortex CCW Defender was a little bit wider, and because of the controls sticking off the side, it looked more uniform. It was a little more sexy on the gun. So this is the optic he had on his. Well, while putting it on my P10F, because that's originally, I picked it up at a gun show this past weekend, already put up a couple of reviews on it as well. I installed the Vortex Defender, and while I was installing it, there was no screws in the bag that specified CZ. There's a bunch of screws in there, but none of them said CZ. So I found the ones that would work as far as the thread pitch and the dimension, diameter, and all that kind of stuff. And I worked with those. I put one in on the left side, so the non-ejection side, and it went all the way down, same resistance except for the little blue Loctite, all the way down until it flushed to the optic. And then on the right side, it got almost all the way down, and I felt something that just felt a little odd, like it didn't bottom out at the same time. It's like it kind of sort of bottomed out, and then I had to turn it 1 or 2 more times before it actually flushed to the optic. And you know, maybe it was just in my head, but it just didn't feel right to me. And so I was paranoid about it. So I went and got my Swamp Fox Optics optic kit out, screw kit, should I say, and I found some screws that were the same diameter, thread pitch, and all that, but they were ever so slightly shorter, and they seemed to bottom out just fine. They seemed to flush. I felt way better about it, right? And I was reminiscing back to my Echelon, my Springfield Echelon, which I actually ended up selling to Trey, the guy that used to do the channel with me, because I kept having that exact same issue. I'm saying that the extractor or the ejector was holding on to the round. It would not let it go, and it was jamming it between the breech face and the side of the slide, exactly what he was experiencing out at the range. Well, since I've since put the CCW on my P09 C, it kind of made me paranoid, and I had just bought a bunch of MagTech ammunition here. So, and that's what he was having most of the problems with, he said. So I thought I would shoot the MagTech ammunition just to see. And I'm also going to shoot some of my defensive ammo. Try not to break camera. The video may be a little long. I'm sorry if that be the case, but I think this is an important topic, especially since I carry this gun around a lot, because I too love this gun. And so I've already done, like I said, 400 or so rounds through this gun without issue, but I had the Hollison on there. I've since put the CCW Defender from Vortex on here, and now I'm a little bit worried. I'm a little bit paranoid, if you will. So I'm thinking what may have been happening is because, like I said, on my Echelon that was happening, and it peed me off so bad. I put up a bad review on it. People started getting nasty, so I ended up taking the video down. And I still have it. I still have the video. Maybe I should go back and put it up and explain what happened. So I sold the gun. I actually sold it to Trey. He actually bought it from me. I took the optic off, and he kept going on about how awesome it was. Man, it was just no problems whatsoever. So I just figured it was one of them situations where everyone has different hands, and so therefore my hands did not fit it right or something. I wasn't sure. It just wouldn't function. Well, he took a spell where he was selling a bunch of guns, and I said, man, you're selling that Echelon for that? I'll buy it back, bro. Whatever, man. I'll figure out what's going on with it, and I'll buy it back. Well, I bought it back from him. I took it to the range. It did not have an optic on it, and man, it was flawless. Had no problems whatsoever. So I went back and got the optic that was originally on there, put it back on, and guess what? The problems begun. Exact same problems as what he was having. And what I learned through that whole process is that the screw on the right side was slightly too long and was just touching these. And it was kind of like his. It was about one every magazine. It wasn't consistent. And so I'm wondering if that's what happened or if there really is an issue. So, and he was also having problems with certain magazines not feeding. And when I came out here to the range with mine, I ran my P10 C, P10 F. I'm certain of that. I'm certain that I did, and without issue. And so since I just put this optic on here, I just put it in front of the sight like I did my other one. So I hope it's on enough, at least for the testing purposes today. And I just want to try to put some down range and see if we have any failures. I'm just going to grab a magazine. So, and I wrote on the side, so I took these magazines straight out of the boxes. That's what I do. I go out to the range, I do the initial review, and when I get home, I clean it up, I load up a mag, put it in the gun, and the other two mags I just leave in the box that it came with. So that's what I did. I went to the box that it came with and pulled them directly out of the box so that I knew that that's what it was. This is the CZ75 P09. This came out of my P01 Omega. So seems like it locked into place, fell down. So let's just see if it'll cycle. I hope there's no problems because I used the same screws out of the Swamp Fox Optic on here as what I used on my P10F. So I hope everything is fine with it because it's been flawless. And it hurt my heart. It hurt my heart to see the man have problems. I mean, I love CZ too. So P01 mag will work, locked back, had no issues. As you see, it is MagTech. All of this is MagTech ammunition. So on this one, I'm going to use there's no denying this one. This is my DWX. Came out of my Dan Wesson DWX. As you can see, it's sticking a pretty good ways out of there. Gonna try this one, try to slow it down a little bit because he was shooting slow when he was shooting his. Just see if there's any hint at all at any kind of problem. Well, that was my DWX mag. As you can see, man, this thing is running like a beast. It's running very accurate, very smooth. Love the recoil response, recoil control. This is an awesome gun. And I'm also running my light on here, not because I necessarily want to mess it up or anything, but I'm trying to mimic. I don't have the exact light he did, but I'm trying to mimic how he was shooting his. And so, because you know how the trolls can be sometimes. So let me grab another mag here. So this one is, or came out of, my original P09. So this is my original P09 magazine. Try to speed it up a little bit because it is a a very fun gun to shoot. So as you can see, no issues there. Original P09 magazine. So let's see what we have here. We have this is the Shadow 2. So this come out of my Urban Gray Shadow 2, you know, the one that says 40 on the side of it as well. So just going to shoot that one. Try to slow it down, I guess. So that again was my original, or I'm sorry, that's my Shadow 2, come out of my Urban Gray Shadow 2. No problems there. So I'm going to get my P10F. This is my P10F magazine. I think this is one of the ones he said would not feed. I think he put the magazine in, he had the slide lock back and it would not close on it. Obviously, as you can see, it did. So I don't know. I'm just trying to determine maybe what he had going on. So that was the original. No, I'm sorry. That was a P10F mag. So no issues with the P10F mag. And this is my original CZ75 SP01. This is the one I'm most concerned about. That's why I waited till last. But again, original CZ75 SP01, the very first CZ I ever bought. You know, some of these have different catches where the magazine catches. Some of them have two, some of them only have one, but it is catching in there and it did close down on it. So hopefully it'll run. This is the one I had the most concern about. Yeah, I was a little bit worried about that one. It seemed as though it wasn't getting in there really good. It seems like it didn't lock in solidly. I mean, the gun didn't malfunction. The magazine just fell out. So the gun didn't malfunction. The gun was fine. And I guess technically it did work, although the mag fell out. Not totally sure why. So I guess for the sake of argument, I wouldn't recommend the original CZ 75 SP01. Although it could have been my fault. I don't know. Maybe I hit the slide lock or something. But again, I did not come out here today in order to, you know, I'm not a troll. Definitely not trying to discredit anything that he said. What I'm trying to do, number one, is because I carry this gun, I don't want there to be any issues with the gun. And because, again, I carry the gun. And I was a little bit worried because I put the Defender on mine. And I also brought with me some of my carry ammunition. Now that hurts me a lot to have to shoot this stuff because I don't have an ammo sponsor like this gentleman does. And so it hurts me a little bit to, you know, man, I'm not even sure I brought oh yeah, I got it over there. It's already loaded up, so you won't have to wait for me to load it. But I have my defensive stuff in here. This is 124 grain Federal HST So I just wanted, and this is the original Nocturne mag that came with it. So just want to run my hollow point, make sure it's good to go. Again, man, I trust my life with this thing. I need to make sure it works. So I'm not sure what happened there. I know you're not going to be able to see this, but it didn't hang up on the extractor like what he was experiencing. It simply looks as though it just hit the feed ramp and didn't go back in for some reason. Could have been me limp wristing it. I'm a little worried about this vortex here not being on. So once I'm done with this video, I'll make sure it's zeroed. So I could have limp wristed that, I'll be honest with you, because this is some plus P ammunition. And it's hitting a lot harder, as you can see. But I think it was definitely me. Man, that's what it hit. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was definitely me that limp wristed that thing. And it just didn't fully go back in the battery. I'm gonna say that anyway. So I put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 mags, all mag tech except for that last magazine. And like I said, that's the Federal. I don't know if it's 124 grain for sure. Maybe I should have looked, but I know that it's plus P. I carry plus P and everything that's rated for it for defense. And I don't know if you can pick it up on camera, but it certainly was hitting way harder than the MagTech that I was shooting. And I also have some of this garbage stuff here. I don't know what exactly it's, Igman something. I don't know. It's 124 grain. It's called Igman, whatever that is. I'm not totally sure. But I'm gonna load a few of these up as well, just for good measure, into the Nocturne magazine here. And while I'm doing that, I'll just say again, I'm not being a troll, not trying to discredit anything this man said or discredit his experience. I don't like when people do me that way, but it's just that when I had the Echelon, literally it was the exact same malfunction. And I'm so OCD, I have to know, like when something happens, I have to know why. And so once I determined that, or felt decently confident that it was certainly the magazine, the optic and the screw, I took the optic off, did fine, put it back on there, screwed the same screws in, malfunction started immediately. And so what I did is I took the extractor spring out, or the ejector spring and everything, and you could easily see where that screw. Now, with that being said, I'm gonna load this one up completely. I'm gonna fill the magazine up with 15 rounds and one in the chamber, just to see if that makes a difference. Again, 124 grain Igman. Maybe that's good stuff. I don't know. I've never heard of it. It was just the cheapest stuff I could find at the time, but I want to run it as well. But that's certainly what it was, because I ended up putting a 320, SCS 320 on that gun. I did a whole video on the proper pins to use, the proper screws to use, all that kind of stuff. And it ended up being great. No problems at all. I love it now. So it was definitely the screw hitting the extractor spring. Now, with that being said, I'm not a gunsmith. I don't know this gun that way, right? So I don't even know if that screw is capable of hitting that spring. That spring may be completely enclosed. I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there as a what if. So I'm gonna pull this one from a double action, so if it sneaks up on me, don't laugh at me. but ran that without a problem. Now again, this is not the cheapest ammo I've ever bought, but it was next to it. The cheapest I ever bought was the New Republic. That's the cheapest stuff that I buy. And I shot mostly that through this when I did the initial review without incident. See if my light's still working. Looks like it is. Um, Either way, I don't know. I did have that one failure to it. I want to say that it caught on the feed ramp, but I don't even think it was that far forward. It was almost as if the slide was locked back, and it may have been because the round was just sitting in the magazine. It had not even, it's like it maybe tried to push it forward just a tad bit, but it was only about that far out of the magazine. So it could be that the gun was just simply locked back. Maybe I hit the mag release from that extra oomph, if you will, from the hotter ammunition that I was running. I don't think it was a failure at all. So I just wonder, just throwing it out there, not being a troll, but I carry this gun, and since I had put this optic on there and I shoot a lot of mag tech, I'm paranoid. No longer am I paranoid. I feel completely confident in this gun. Again, 1000% convinced that the one hiccup that it had was because I limp wristed it. Once I really focused on gripping it, because the recoil's great on this gun, so I was having no issues with that whatsoever. And so I don't like put a death grip on the thing, but I guess with the ammunition being a little hotter, maybe I should have, and I'm dead certain that it was me. Either way, let me know what your thoughts are. Maybe Chris at the Honest Outlaw will see this. Maybe he'll, I don't know. I would like to know. I want to know what, and I'm sure he'll let us know what he found out. But either way, thanks so much for watching. If this was helpful, hit the thumbs up. Be sure to subscribe. Go over, check me out on Patreon. Check me out on Rumble. And as always, if beautiful day out here today. Glad to know Jesus Christ is my Savior. And as always, to God be the glory. And thanks so much for watching.